Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I listened to some of my podcasts yesterday, so I'm no longer going to introduce myself the way I used to. I was trained in interspecies communication and actually used by the US government in interspecies communication. I have to say that I was not proud of what I was representing, and I am hoping that that is going to be different today. And in that vein, I have ordered an incredible creative artist. I haven't asked her what her political views are, so I'm not going to say her name right now. But she created this symbol that is on screen right now, which the peace symbol is fantastic. And we actually have an updated version of the peace symbol, but I can't show it to you yet because it's not finished. This symbol that you're seeing is what we should all be using, even if it's just a photograph or a sketch of it. We will be making up jewelry, etc. It is the Egyptian Anubis Ankh. I think that's the way it's pronounced. It's a type of cross, but it has a circle at the top, which is a protection from galactic forces that are the ones that make you crazy at night, that make you grind your teeth, um, that make you confused. So, however, thousands of years ago, the Egyptians created this symbol, the Ankh. Um, they understood the invasions of the galactics. I have something, I wonder what that is. Um, there are matrix type implants also that are put into our heads. That's why people are obsessed with hoodies. When I was young, nobody wore a hoodie. If they did, somebody said, "You're into Satanism," because only the guys into Satanism in the movies that had the hoods on. Today, everybody uses them because we understand that our heads are vulnerable at night. So, the bottom of the symbol, which you can barely see there, is pointed because in the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it does not say deliver us from evil or protect us from evil or maybe deliver us from evil. It says help us to be rooted, anchored, to be in the moment, to be really into the earth element. So at the bottom, basically, it's a stake. And then wrapped around it is the cannabis plant. Why? Because all wars have to do with an excess of the fire element. Cannabis is a female plant that puts out fire. The devil, contrary to the disinformation, the food of the devil is fire, and cannabis puts out fire. That's why it's so important. And I do want somebody to take the time one day to go back to where the disinformation campaign started, because whoever started that campaign knows a lot about this planet and galactic forces than you do, because the devil comes from another planet. I believe the planet or the system is Orion, but don't quote me on that part. But the devil is not from this planet. But if this planet doesn't have enough fire, the devil doesn't have any food. So I'm going to drop that for now in terms of all that information. I will give it to you more fully. But we made up this post. Have no fear of aliens, just show them this symbol. Basically, you're putting up something that puts out fire, you're putting up something that has protection, and the aliens will know that you kind of understand the rules of the game intergalactically. Is it galactically or intergalactically? I have to look that up also. So, we will be presenting these symbols in ways that you can use them as your screensaver, you can print them up, you can do whatever you want with them, and we will be making jewelry, inexpensive and expensive, everything. That ankh, by the way, also protects you from the underworld because we are not just getting attacked from off planet, which be the hoodie, we're getting invaded from underneath due to the fact that the BP oil accident destroyed a protection that we had from civilizations in the underworld and protection that they had from us. And then whatever it is that's going on in the center of the earth, where that's the reason we can't go to the North Pole, we're not going to get into that either. So I am going to be teaching you more and more about how to keep yourself protected, what to understand about life, that if you understand it, your choices can be better. So I was skimming through X, which I shouldn't have done because I'm too busy, but you have to have a break every once in a while. And I saw John Thune, the head of whatever, I don't remember what his title is. He is supposed to look like all those mind streams, which are cannabinoid receptors. There's no question, they're cannabinoid receptors, which I discovered in 92 and call them mind strings. Science discovered them in 92, but several months before. And I didn't find out what they discovered till 20 years later. But these are mind strings. They're supposed to be Nile green, 72,000. They extend from your center axis 360 degrees, and you get like a protection. When you're very depressed, they droop. John Thune is massively depressed. That's the only reason I paid attention to him. Massively depressed. So now here we go, where I'm going to teach you how not simply to be liking politics and making observations. Why don't you turn into a master of your destiny and learn how to shift things in your direction, not by hiring a hitman and not by going to the elections and voting for your person and working at the uh, to sway people to what it is that you want. If we have somebody like this man, John, by the way, he hates Schumer, but I mean, he hates him with a passion. And of course, if he didn't have that much fire, which the mind strings, which are cannabinoid receptors, are full of fire, if he didn't have that much fire, he wouldn't hate Schumer as much. And maybe he could work better with him. I don't know. So here's the point. The point is, this poor man doesn't know anything about the elements. Cannabis puts out fire. So if he takes cannabis, he's not going to look like this. But he's not going to take cannabis because cannabis is illegal most places, which I hope tomorrow Trump is going to announce that it's going to be totally unrestricted. But let's not wait till then, because you see, you can take care of it, help this man by planting little cannabis plants underneath his feet, visually create a visualization in the other dimensions. You can spray him with cannabis water. Where are you going to get it? You invent it with your mind. That's how reality is created. And you can put a cannabis sensory therapy video, which is this. And you take his photograph, you cut it out, screenshot, however it is that modern people do these things today, and you put it on a TV set or on a computer, and you have this music playing, and his fire will go down, which means he will be easier to deal with. He will actually be able to think, because with that level of depression, you can't think. You can only stay stuck where you're at. So let me put the music on for 2 minutes. Here it is. This is the frequency of cannabis. So that is sensory therapy with images and the frequency of cannabis, which is 420. You play that and you put the photographs of your whole family. You can put your teenage kid who's insoportable, which means impossible. You put the photograph there, and transference of energy, that vibration hits them. The same way the guys use psychotronic weapons to, send frequencies. You can send it with the power of your mind. Oh, I don't have a powerful mind. You have to start practicing up. Who needs to reduce their fire? Well, I can tell you, New York City has been called the city of hate for over 20 years in Europe. New York City has been called the city of hate for over 20 years in Europe. That's how they refer to New York City. Now, what are you going to expect from New York City? So you take and you put on a piece of paper the word New York City, and you get that music, which I will give you now, the link. That's not it. Give me a second. I'll give it to you in a minute. It's on our YouTube site, but I will give you the link. And you put the word New York City and you put it on a computer you don't use and play that music, or put it on your big screen TV. Go to YouTube, put it in screen TV, put all the pictures of all the people who are angry, cranky, depressed, want to commit suicide. Suicide is extra fire. Put all the little pictures up there and it will transfer. The frequency plus the images will transfer to the person. So, who else has extra fire? Elon Musk has a smile on his face he hasn't had for a while. Now, is he enough? Or does he know that he's going to be able to smoke cannabis? Because once you use it to help you to function because it balances your elements by reducing the fire element, and it's taken away, it's a big problem. Because you know what it's like when you're able to use it. Such as I'm stuck here and I'm running out of cannabis. When I do, I think I'm going to get in my car, and it doesn't really matter how many hitmen the Vatican and all these people have supposedly hired to take me down. I have to go and pick up my cannabis. Okay. I would like to talk about religions. Well, let me say what we did yesterday. My Mantrista movement group, we were like 200, 250 people. 12 noon yesterday, we went to Congress. And we wanted to cool it down. Congress is a mess in the other dimensions. It's kind of hard for people to function well when the environment, which is where, let me put it back up again. See all those mind strings, which are cannabinoid receptors? All those mind streams feed off your environment. So if your environment is not good, the food you ate is going to poison you or change you, such as too much fire on John Thune and in New York City, the city of hate. So when they elect, if they elect this guy in New York, it will be their excess fire that had them elect that person. Reduce the fire, and then they are balanced according to all medicines except for modern medicine, which is the least effective medicine in the history of the planet. They will be able to think clearly, and maybe they won't have to elect somebody that the rest of the country is worried about. I don't really have an opinion on the man. He certainly looks sweet enough. I don't have an opinion. And when they said that he lied about his aunt and it was really not his aunt, he was somebody else, honestly, if you're Hispanic, and I know he's not Hispanic, you can say somebody's your aunt and it turns out she's not really your aunt in terms of blood relation, but she is your aunt. And you refer to a lot of people as your cousin because you grew up with them, but they're not really legally your cousin or by blood, your cousin. This whole thing with cultural differences. At a time when we're going to be meeting aliens, it's kind of like pretty important that we kind of get over that. They have something on X now, and they're showing pictures of these Hispanic males, and they're saying they're being listed as white. They're Hispanic and they're white. I'm Hispanic and I'm white. The fact that they're Hispanic and they have darkish skin doesn't mean they're black. What are they considered in their country? The photographs they showed me, none of those men would have been considered black in their country. So what are you doing? Shoving people into categories is not going to make for peace. Throw cannabis at them. By the way, that's a very good thing for the jail in the Everglades with the immigrants. If you have this music video, which I paid for, and the music was created by Mauro Calderon, who's an opera singer in Mexico, and Video was done by Yvonne Zarateca from Mexico. Zarate. But it's mine. I own it. Put it up. I won't charge you for it. Put it up in the prison as background. It has the 420 frequency. You can have somebody who's observant of subtle changes. Later on, there'll be maximum big changes, and have them observe from 1 to 100 where the anxiety is in the prison. And then within a week, not even a week, 2 days, you're going to see how the numbers get better and better and better. We are in a transition in between ages. So don't be an old fuddy duddy, whoever makes these decisions. The fact that you're old because I am old, you don't have to be a fuddy duddy. You have to get with the program. We're into the age of Aquarius. Get with the program. The military that are bad know all about frequencies. Maybe you need to get updated and use it now, 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 now. Do not wait for scientific studies from your universities or the military. First place, do not give any more money to the military to do any kind of investigations on anything that has to do with human consciousness and human behavior. Don't do that. It doesn't make any sense. Their intention pollutes the results. Or they get incredible results and then they hide it from the public because they want to use it as a weapon. Religions. The Israelis. I feel sorry actually for Benjamin. His time has passed. And you can tell he's stumbling. What did they spend on social media propaganda to get people to like Jews again, Israel again? I don't know. But guess what? We're into the age of Aquarius, which is community. Israel is a state whose main intention is survival. I can tell you that I struggle when I have friends who have had god awful issues. By the way, that kind of includes me. Their main issue is survival. Because when I haven't been into this deep mode of survival, your behavior is different. Your intentions are different. So if we follow Israel's lead and Benjamin's lead, we're all going to be in survival mode. And you got aliens showing up and we're in survival mode when we're not really in survival mode in the United States. We are in adjustments so we can take care of the old stuff and move in gracefully and with solid grounding into a new world. So the intentions core in every cell, in every inch of them, the Israelis, and by the way, most Jews, is survival. I actually am dealing with somebody right now who has that issue, and I asked her to do something. And the first thing she did was the least important. And I was like, what is the matter? But she's into survival. And so that would have been her priority, where it's the least important thing to do. So you have to look at this. J.D. Vance has a wife who's Hindi. Have you ever heard of a Hindi country like going to war against other people? I mean, I'm sure there must be, but I don't think they do. They're not into survival. They're actually very much into spiritual things, and they actually integrate it into everything daily. We want people like that. We want people like that. That's the kind of people we want. I'm not promoting Hinduism, even though half of the stuff I do, Hindi people would go, yeah, yeah, we know that. Yeah, that's good. Because they know the other dimensions. They understand the other dimensions. They understand the chakras. I believe that's where Buddhism started. I'm just giving information. Everybody, oh, you guys are going to do whatever the hell you want. I'm just giving information. So J.D. Vance's wife, you know what? Build an altar to her. Keep her, protect her. And you know what? The fact that she doesn't look like Erica Kirk is like a really, really, really good thing. Erica Kirk, 20 and 30 years from now, is going to look like trash. Whereas if you don't have to have that look that includes all the stuff that has to be done to look like that, 20 and 30 years from now, you're still fine. This whole thing with looks is a bit of a problem. And Trump, I understand, you ran pageants, but that's not a filter that can be applied to people. First place, the people that go to pageants are what, the upper 1%? I like this woman, and I know, well, he chose her when he was in a bad place. Yeah, and look where he's at now. Potential vice president, potential president of the country. So what did she give him? Maybe we want more of that rather than saying he chose her when he was down. God. Christianity. I know, I know. The symbol for Christianity is Jesus Christ on a cross. Okay. As I tell my followers, you have a husband, and on top of your bed, you have Jesus on a cross. Well, disinformation, we were told he never had sex, and he's on a cross. You want that over your bed? I don't think so. And by the way, you go, well, what are you doing, Francis? I'll tell you what I'm doing. If you bought into that, you need to know that the rest of the world didn't buy into that. So it kind of leaves you limping when you're not able to defend, and you just have to go, well, but that, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you defend that? Do you think that having a symbol of a man that died, that says he's God and he died on a cross and he never had sex over your bed? I don't think so. I'll tell you a cute story. Decades ago, I invited a Mexican shaman to Miami, and two of my clients paid him a very nice sum of money, thank you, to go to their homes to check out the feng shui, all the stuff in the home. And we did the two houses. I walked with him because at that point I didn't know anything about that. And he said to me, when we finished, we sat outside waiting for I don't know what. And he said, did you notice something about there were two single women, coincidentally, that had contracted him. I think at that point it was $1,000 to go to each house. It was a lot of money. We're talking 20, 30 years ago. So I said, what? He said, did you notice that both these women, what they have next to their beds are little statues of angels, their goddaughter in her white First Communion outfit, and their mothers and aunts, and they have angels all over the house and all these angelic female figures. And I went, yeah. He said, and they say they want to have a mate. What do you By the way, when he came, I went to my house and looked at everything. What I had on my walls was symbolic of my traumas. I was in shock. So why don't you do that? So Christianity, you need to understand that Christianity, Catholicism is not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was used as a marketing tool. And the decision to say he never had sex happened 352 years after he passed. Council of Nicaea. Why did they do that? Because, and this was verified by a seminarita, a guy that was in the seminary to become a priest, and he did become a priest. They had a big meeting, Council of Nicaea, and they determined that they didn't want the priests to get married. Because if they had children, then whatever the priest owned would go to the children. And remember that at those years, the wealthy people that had a lot of children, they would send one of their children to the monkery, monastery, whatever, to the priesthood. And they had land and whatever. They were part of well-to-do families. So if they died and they didn't have children, it would go to the church. So the church determined, and this seminarian, this guy that was practicing up to become a priest, whatever word, he said, that's true. The lands, I didn't say it to him. I was telling him a story about some woman that came, and I was doing a past life that was really fascinating. And he went into the thing with the Council of Nicaea, and then I looked it up. So, but if you cannot defend and make sense with your words what it is that you have been sold that maybe you shouldn't have bought it. And as I tell people, if there's a story with your religion or with your relationship, and if you came home with that same story from school and told your mother, and she'd say, "Who do you expect to believe that?" If that is true of what you believe in your religion, you know what? You're not going to really do well in the age of Aquarius, where everything will be open and where the third eye is so important because everybody's going to know everything. So if your third eye is limping, you're going to get left behind. And when the aliens come, they know more, even more than what your third eye can possibly deliver to you. So the whole thing about this Charlie Kirk looked like a really nice person. What a mess was created around him. So why did we do that? Why couldn't he just be him? Why did there have to be all that organization and then he gets set up? I'm not so sure that she was set up initially, but man, she sure wants to be part of the presidency, the vice presidency. She has really strong instructions to do whatever to get there to where she's looking like an absolute fool. But that whole organization cannot make it because the ETs that are coming in, and a lot of which are already here, they don't have religion. Why? Because what we considered a god is what they are in the age of Aquarius. Now, even with what my group is doing, superpowers. Well, they're a god, yeah, but they don't run around telling people they have to be good people. No, they don't. Because on this planet, it's light and dark. So the whole religion thing, and this is a Christian nation, give me a break. Are you having sex? Then you're not so Christian, right? Because your Jesus didn't have sex. So how come he's the only one that didn't have sex and you do and you think it's okay? No, sir. It's not holding water. It's not holding any water. It's not making sense. Who are you going to sell that to? And then Christianity has not been a nice religion. The Crusades, and then we wonder what's happened to the Muslims. The Crusades, they didn't come over here to destroy us. And then you have Buddhism. I'm cranky at the Dalai Lama. I haven't heard from him. But the religion, not a religion. It's a philosophy. And by the way, it's a philosophy of the mind, which means it's a philosophy of the cannabinoid receptors. Oh, do they smoke pot? I don't know if they do, but in Tantric Buddhism, they do recommend it. I don't remember what the statement is that I found, and certainly none of the Buddhist monks I deal with would ever even go there because of the United States and the way they feel, the disinformation campaign we were sold and we bought. So I'm not saying we should promote Buddhism. I am asking Trump for you to get in contact with the Dalai Lama and have him contact me because I don't trust anybody, including the Dalai Lama, to know what's best for the United States because that will be the slow boat to China. And we don't have time for that. I want tantric monks. I couldn't get them through my traditional connections. Too conservative, and they're being controlled by somebody who wants to be at the head of the train, but they're not tantric monks. I don't want a non-tantric monk to be controlling tantric monks. Slow boat to China. I want the monks that took off the black magic that was done to Venezuela 7 years ago. That's the group of monks I want. I don't want them for me, even though I'd love to have them for me. I don't want them for me. I want Washington, D.C. to have a contingency of Tantric Buddhist monks clearing it, being it that our government is from there. So you need people really specialized in dealing with the darkest of the dark, because Washington, D.C. is built on a burial ground. Not an Indian burial ground, but it is a burial ground of spirits. And the portal in Miami needs to be closed, the one that my handler, Rene de Villegas, opened because of all the black magic he did in his property in South Miami. And that portal will stabilize South Florida, having to do with hurricanes. And you have a jail in the Everglades that if it ever gets hit by a hurricane, the humanitarian crisis is going to be beyond belief. The whole world is going to find out about it. So that's why I want the tantric monks, I want to be in charge because then I know that they will be pointed in the right direction. They won't be just doing all these ceremonies. They're not the ones that do the sand mandalas. I paid for over 10 of those at the rate of about $10,000 a piece. Some of that money came from clients, and some I paid for one for Puerto Rico, I paid for one for Peru, and for my family. Actually, it was more than 10. So, but the tantric monks are not the ones that do the sand mandalas. Those are the very diplomatic, political monks, which is great. You want to have them over? Fine, you take care of them. I want the tantric monks, which is what I was finally told by the regular monks, that is what I needed if I wanted to have the black magic that was done on Venezuela 7 years ago. If I wanted that taken care of, I had to have tantric monks. And so they sent in a group. The next group was tantric monks, and they took care of it. Got it? That's what I want. Trump, I know you got a lot going on. But when we went in yesterday to Congress, my whole group, it was a mess. Congress is a mess. The energies, they can take care of that too. But once they go underneath the whole Washington, D.C. area, you would have never had all that crime. So basically, you can attribute most of that crime to the fact that it's an Indian burial ground. Say Indian burial ground, because you have to explain, well, it's not really an Indian burial ground, but it is a burial ground of spirits. It gets too long and people's attention spans are very low. Let me see if I have another. Israel is set up for war because they're in survival mode. Who the hell decided to put Israel where they gave them that piece of land? Who did that? That person knows a lot. That group of people, they want the world to be at war. Buddhism tells you to go inward and take care of your cannabinoid receptors. Christians say fight to defend, because look, the cross, look what they did. It turned out it was his own people that put him on the cross. And it turns out that the cross is the way they used to punish people that used to steal. And I'm not belittling Christ. I live more like Christ than all the rest of you guys. The storyline, the marketing, the disinformation on Christ, probably worse than the disinformation on cannabis. So let me get you the link to the video, but I'm going to put it on while I find the link, okay? Which is the frequency 420 plus other music that Mauro Calderon, he did the piece. Because if you just go crazy, but it's there. And why don't you close your eyes and see how your shoulders start to relax as soon as you listen to it, okay? And I will get the link. Okay, so there it is on Here it is, 10 hours long, so that you can have it at night. It helps the entire household, the children, the pets, the parents. People sleep better. Cannabis puts out fire. The devil is, its food is fire. The heat from all the headphones, cell phones, radiation from when you're um, radiates the fire element. So there's a lot of electronics. All of our homes are full of Wi-Fi, 5G. The 10-hour will make the environment of your home um, healthier. And then here's the 20-minute one. It's on my YouTube channel, Francis Fox Reveals. But let me show you the last thing I wanted to show you. How many minutes? Oh, we're into 35. We'll show you the next time. We have our book done. You can find it on Amazon. Francis Fox Cannabis. It's interesting because I think Amazon is not showing the numbers of books that are actually being sold, because we are able to track it with my followers. And in some countries in Europe, they tell them that they no longer have any more, except it's an ebook. So, what can I tell you? Okay, Trump, I'm waiting for tomorrow. You say it's going to be a really big day. Okay.